Now this video has been something that I wanted to make for some time and discuss about, but here it goes. Sticking the canon in fan content in AU is bloody mid. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna have to say, to be honest. Alright, fine, I'll talk about it. Now, let me make one thing clear. I have no problem with canon at all, since it's what establishes the original source material. I do, however, have a problem with it if it's being used too much in fan content, or if it's being imposed on when someone's doing something a little differently. Yeah, we still want to see the engines with the foul tenders, but here's the thing. Not everyone needs to give the tender engines foul tenders, okay? Because those bloody things are so bloody small for some engines, specifically those of big size like Henry and Gordon, for example. Like, yeah, it may fit in like Edward or James, but here's the thing. When someone makes an AU where Gordon and Henry don't have the foul tenders, like, you just got to accept that. Like, it's not even in regards to canon. And it's not like they're trying to contradict Auggie's work in the official thing, because the official thing has already been established. There's a reason the term alternate universe exists. And really, you can't just expect someone to just like everything about the foul tenders, or just see the foul tender as the only thing that matches, like, the tender engines. Because then it shows that people forget that in real life, there are other tenders that could match any other tender engine on Sodor. Group Standard, Standard Tender, like any tender in general. And you know what? The same thing applies to locomotive bases. I don't know why, but some people think that a certain character could still be that bases related to another character. And like, what? Like, guys, just because someone looks similar to another basis doesn't mean that they are the same basis. You forget that there are real life bases that match each other really well. Hell, even look identical to a certain basis as well. It's like these other people who stick to canon, or claim to stick to canon, have like no imagination with where to take like their own takes on Thomas to go. Which makes me question, like, okay, what's the point of telling us that we should stick to canon then if you're gonna limit yourself? Let alone ask us questions of whether or not we're gonna do these things in relation to canon, like the foul tenders. Like, here's the thing, I'm not gonna take other people's alternate interpretations or OCs just to fit everything in. Self-insert really sucks these days. Especially those bloody E2 OCs. Oh, good lord, but also for another video. Like, the thing is, you can't just expect people to stick to canon or keep some canon aspects like the foul tenders or Edward having a 2-window cap. It's their choice after all. And you just got to accept that. It's not like they've made Edward younger than, say, Gordon, for example. And there's a reason why I made my version of the NW locomotive designs a little different from the canon versions of them, from the railway series and TV show. It's because of how boring it is, and I want to try and stand out from, like, say, other creators. And now, probably you guys will say, oh, it's not an excuse from singing away from canon. Like, guys, it's bloody boring, alright? That's it. Boring. Same BS, same story, same design, nothing new. Even if the story doesn't change, at least try something new with character designs, at least. Or maybe even with the histories. Like, if you want to keep the personality the same, at least try something a little differently for once. What's better, it's about real-life locomotive history and the alternatives for your Thomas AU, so it'll be easier to do for you, where you don't need to do something that you don't like. I know I'm coming out as being a bit controlling here, but then again, they're not really one to talk when they, like, try to plant seeds into my head into taking other people's OCs or interpretations. Like, yeah, I have Dudley in my AU and he's an OC, but that's because he has such an impact. I do not take things that people request me to do because they're not from me. I need to find something in me to implement my AU that I feel that it's worth adding in. Otherwise, what's the point? And if you're comfortable with canon, whether it's from the TVS or the railway series, then good for you. But that doesn't mean I need to jump on that bandwagon with the whole crowd. Best to stand out than to be one of a million forgettable faces. And my point still stands about the loaned engines. I don't think they'd be painted in Northwestern liveries because the NWR would not have the permission to do so. Sure, one of the 120 railway companies had more than just one livery and all that. That doesn't mean Northwestern would be allowed to paint them in like those liveries, let alone in their own liveries. Like NWR blue, green, they wouldn't be allowed to do that. Because come on, what makes you think for example, the bloody GNR will allow the Northwestern Railway to paint one of their Pride flat locomotives in blue or green? Unless say like they purchased the engine. That's the only possible explanation I can give for like one of the loan engines being painted in like Northwestern colors. Otherwise, I don't see why they would be painted in Northwestern colors if they're just on loan. And I'm sorry, saying that one railway company from the 120 companies of Britain had more than just one livery is a very poor attempt to just have me paint 87546, for example, in blue. Because, like I said before, just because one company had more than just one livery, that doesn't mean that Northwestern Railway would be allowed to just paint one of the loaned engines. Like, really, think about that. And like I said, Canon is so bloody boring that it's not even enjoyable anymore. And yeah, that's my video for today, I guess. If you're sticking to Canon, hey, no worries. Just don't impose it on me. Because to me, sticking to Canon is bloody boring.